Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Saturday afternoon, NPL Women's New South Wales from Rudy Hill, Blacktown Spartans versus Manly United. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. We've got NPL Women's New South Wales action for you right on the last day of June. A midwinter clash. It's quite cold here at Blacktown Football Park, but thankfully we've got two teams capable of heating things up on the field. Eric Subihano here in the shipping container at Blacktown Football Park for Blacktown Spartans versus Manly United. So for the home side, Blacktown Spartans, they shocked the competition 7 days ago, knocking off the then league leaders Illawarra Stingrays by 2-1. And Krista Oliva scoring a late winner there for the Spartans on that occasion. While for Manly United, it's been rough waters in recent times, and they're trying to turn around this losing streak with victory here today against the team from Western Sydney. Let's quickly take you through the two starting lineups. Firstly, for Blacktown Spartans, in goal, number 1, Anna Norton. We're expecting 4 at the back, number 26, Diana Corona, number 5, Isabel Wilson, number 2, the captain, Chantel Maniti, and number 29, Jessica Nash. In central midfield, number 12, Charlotte Carroll, number 8, Helena Daniela, and number 33, Janea Dos Santos. And the 3 up front, number 7, Krista Oliva, number 9, Rukaya Alfaraje, and number 27, the Spartans' top scorer for the season, Alyssa Ng-Assad. Spartans are coached by Nacho Alcaraz, and they're wearing their usual orange and black kits. While for Manly United, in goal for them, number 21, Jodie Drever. My sources tell me they'll play a 3-5-2 this afternoon. So the 3 at the back, number 12, Ariela Cabezas, number 34, Corinne Winkler, and number 14, Leah Burton. On the left of midfield, number 11, Tegan Biasi. On the right, the captain, number 2, Phoebe Gilbane. And the 3 in central midfield, number 10, Alexia Karastal, number 20, Sian Bozanic, and number 16, Daisy Arrowsmith. And the 2 up front for the visitors, number 19, Carly Johnson, and Manly's top scorer for 2024, number 9, Emily Minette. Manly United coached by Tom Hopley. Shout out to the third team as well, the match officials in the centre with the whistle, Lara Hogan. The assistant who is closest to us is Thomas Davis, and the assistant on the far side, Blake Eastwood. There's the whistle from Lara Hogan. Away we go. For Manly, the last time they tasted victory was in a cup game, round 3 of what I like to call the greatest cup competition in the world, the Sapphire Cup, when Manly defeated Blacktown City by 5-1. That's a ground not that far away from here, of course. The Spartans' belief will be high, although they need to defend as Gilbane crosses, and it lands on the roof of the net. But yes, for the home side, belief will be high after knocking off the Stingrays by 2-1. Isabel Wilson opened the scoring here 7 days ago, and Nacho Alcaraz, the Spartans coach, will be pleased that his young team didn't let their heads drop after there's a late-ish penalty to equalise from Siobhan Edwards of the Stingrays, because they went almost straight down the other end and scored the winner via Krista Oliva, who's also chasing this one. Gilbane will play it over the sideline. It's a slightly earlier kickoff. For this one, 3:30 p.m. as opposed to the usual 5 p.m. slot. And actually, from looking at the Manly United socials, and what a great job that club does on social media, by the way. The Manly United under-16 team is currently on tour in Spain, and so with them not playing today, it's a slightly shorter girls' youth league program, so to speak, and so 18s, reserves, and first grade have come a little bit earlier than normal, but it's not quite as cold, so I think everyone's glad for that. There's also late drama in the reserves game just before this one. So if you see that as some kind of omen for the first grade game, you're in luck. As it was the Spartans who scored first. That's held forward. It's going to take a high-ish bounce, but nothing to trouble Anna Norton. And the Spartans scored first in the reserve grade game just before this one. But 2 second-half goals from Jessica Percival has given the Manly United reserves a win over the Spartans. And Jessica Percival did indeed score with the very last kick of the game. Nash and Maniti plays it forward after the space. Manly tried to tighten the space around the Spartan skipper. There's Nash again, Jessica Nash, very much of this region. We may know her, well, you may know her as Matilda's cap 218. the Melbourne Victory player, the Young Matildas captain. She's also played in A-League Women as Jessica Nash for Canberra United and Sydney FC, but her roots, so to speak, not too far away from here. Jessica Nash, very much a Blacktown woman, and she is a Doonside Hawks junior. As Gilbane plays it back to Jodie Drever. Jodie Drever, new to the team from the Northern Beaches. I think made her first appearances in this first grade competition as part of the Northern Tigers setup, but Jodie Drever has swapped over in the mid-season registration window. Header from Wilson. Now Gilbane, and the only option is backwards to Burton. Burton firing it towards Johnson. Perhaps we could see it later on. Carly Johnson of Manly United, one of the young Matilda's colleagues, shall we say, of Jessica Nash. Those two would be very familiar. And Carly Johnson also spending the last A-League Women's season in Melbourne with Western United. Since I'm in the mood to shout out junior clubs, I'll shout out to both of Carly Johnson's junior clubs, CC Strikers and DY from the Manly Warringah Football Association. Johnson clattered there, right in front of the Spartans bench, but pretty straightforward call. Even they weren't contesting the decision. There's the signal. I think that's Carastal taking it. And Winkler was interested. There's the header from Nash. And it will go behind the first corner of this evening's game. So we are grateful to the club a couple of years ago. I can't remember actually. I think the 2020 season was the first time we had what I lovingly call the shipping container, but more officially the media box here at Blacktown Football Park. If you're a long-time watcher of these streams, you'll remember the 2019 season when you just filmed, when this thing hadn't been built, and you just filmed on the hill and hoped for the best. But now, it's great to have this box as the corner comes in. Header possibly from Biasi. Minette trying to keep it alive. A fair bit of head tennis in the Spartans box. Biasi playing it back to the corner taker. It was Arrowsmith. It's up into the sky and over the keeper. Here's Minette, and missed it at the first time of asking and couldn't quite swivel her hips in time to put it back across her body and into the net. So an early scare for the home side. And the chance has gone wide. Emma Minette reached a personal milestone last weekend in Manly's 3-1 defeat to Northwest Sydney Spirits at Cromer Park, and she's scored a goal in that game. Now she's on double figures for the season. Emily Minette, the number 9 in the league, +1 in the Sapphire Cup. The aforementioned 5-1 win over Blacktown City, as there's the first chance to run for Alyssa Engsard. Winkler is in the way, preventing that from getting to Alfaraje. Carroll tries to stand it up, and Dos Santos flags up. I was wondering about that, but Thomas Davis had his eye on the play, and Janaea Dos Santos started her run a little bit too early. It's one of those days. I was hoping for no precipitation. I was optimistic, but there's just enough drizzle that I have to close the window to this media box so we can call this game. Myself and today's camera operator, Jaden, we were on Marconi's Tower, I think, last weekend for the NPL men's game between Marconi Stallions and Sutherland Sharks, and it's one of those annoying ones where the wind blows the rain straight into your face. Oliva trying one from range, which will go wide, and led to a fair bit of scrambling to protect the equipment and make sure that none of it got wet. But thankfully, we've got a roof and 4 walls over us at this time. It's the short goal kick, and then Drever will play it out to Leah Burton. the schedule, at least with the rescheduling of this game, to make it slightly earlier, as Ingsad puts the pressure on Cabezas. And Spartans might have got a chance here. It's Charlotte Carroll with the shot. That's straightforward for Jodie Drever. If you're a big fan of the NPL Women's New South Wales competition and don't mind watching more than one game in a day, well, you're in luck, because I think this game kicking off at the earlier time it's kind of spreads the round out nicely, and of course you have plenty of options for you, because the other 6 games for this round 18 are coming up later on. So the 4:40 p.m. kickoff from the presumably very, very cold Northbridge Oval. If Christie Park is called the Arctic Circle, then I reckon Northbridge Oval should be called the North Pole. But anyway, at Northbridge Oval, 4:40 p.m, Bulls FC Academy versus Sydney Olympic. Thoughts and praise to James Preston, who's calling that game, because that is an uncovered commentary position. So best of luck, James. There's 4 NPL women's games at 5 p.m. So I think down on the south coast, Illawarra Stingrays will be hosting the team that broke my heart by knocking my friends from the Flying Bats out of the Sapphire Cup. That is, of course, Sydney University, but Stingrays versus Sydney Uni, 5 p.m. Macedonia Park. That'll be called by Wollongong Sax boy Thomas Phillips. Also at 5 p.m. from Lambert Park, home of Sydney's best barista, is RPL Leichhardt versus Football New South Wales Institute. At the Village Green, it's the University of New South Wales versus Gladesville Ravens. And we've got a treat, because we've done well to land this commentator. Kate Allman, who has plenty of experience calling A-League women, is now part of the Football New South Wales commentary team. We're glad to have Kate on board. That's another 5 p.m. kickoff. And the final one up at Lake Macquarie Regional Football Facility, Emerging Jets versus Northern Tigers. Speaking of uncovered commentary positions, that's not only is that uncovered at Lake Macquarie, it's also, from what I've told, an incredibly dodgy and wobbly scissor lift. So we certainly hope the weather's better up at Lake Macquarie than it is here. And yes, Jets versus Northern Tigers, 5 p.m. And then at 5:30 p.m, it's the women's match of the round. That is at the Arctic Circle, Northwest Sydney Spirit versus Macarthur Rams. And because it's a match of the round, who else to call it but the Serbian Martin Tyler, Nikola Pozdo. As Biasi takes her centrally and tries to thread it through to Carly Johnson. Good run from Carly Johnson. There's enough orange jerseys in the way. Manly United, who lead the league for quite a while in the first half of the season. They entered this one in 9th place out of 14 teams, but from memory only about 5 points or so off the finals places. It's a top 4 final series in NPL Women's, so there is still plenty of time for them to get back up nearer the top of the table. Caristal takes a hop and finds Johnson on the turn. It might break for Arrowsmith, and here's Arrowsmith. She scored! Daisy Arrowsmith with a perfect start for Manly United. And the team from the Northern Beaches have planted their flag on Spartan soil. A wonderful finish. Daisy Arrowsmith, her 7th goal of the season. That's just what Tom Hopley and co wanted. It was in the 12th minute. It's a typically clinical finish. And that's what we're used to from Daisy Arrowsmith. Whether you remember her in the past at Bankstown City or Northern Tigers, or if you've got a really long memory and you remember her at North Shore Mariners, Daisy scores goals, and she's provided the opener here for Manly United. Anna Norton left with absolutely no chance. And then Arrowsmith immediately back to do some defensive work, but there's the pass out to Alfaraja, and she's stopped by Leah Burton. Speaking of former Bankstown City players, that is also Rukaya Alfaraja, and she, like lots of players in both the women's and men's comps, has decided to find new pastures in the mid-season registration window. Touch, and Burton, the spin didn't help her. I think she initially wanted to shepherd it out, but the flag is up, so it didn't matter in the end. That start could be just what Manly United need as they try to get back to winning ways, although, I mean, they don't need telling. They did score first last week as well, but then the Northwest Sydney Spirit attacking quality proved too much for Manly in the end. As I said, last week Spirit won by 3-1 at Cromer Park. A double from Ella Abdulmasi, and then the clincher laid on from Taliga Yunus. Minette dispossessed. Now Ungsad. Pass blocked by Minette, definitely pressing from the front. Noticed that a couple of the Football New South Wales media team are tuning in, so thanks for your support, Ashley Borg and Justin Davies. It's a rather niche thing that I like about commentary, but when you have access to power and, more importantly, a box with which to protect your laptop from the elements, you can see who's tuning in. Ashley Borg agreeing with my assessment of the commentary situation at Lake Macquarie Regional Football Facility. Now Gilbane taking over for Manly United, and the RC had started her run. No chance to play a pass because Gilbane was fouled. That should be too long from a Manly perspective, but just perfect for Anna Norton and to catch the ball. Carroll. And balls over the top could be interesting, but Jodie Drever with some good sweeper keeping work. There's more than a bit of pace in this Spartans. As I always say, the front four. You've got the three attackers, Rukaya Alfaraje, Krista Oliva, and Alyssa Ungsad, with Janeo Dos Santos playing possibly just behind those three, although she's getting forward to be a second striker alongside Alfaraje at every opportunity, so Manly certainly need to be aware of any quick breaks from today's hosts. Now, Spartans showing good energy, and it's a good response from conceding the first goal. Now, it's Dos Santos, Janea Dos Santos. Of course, there are two of them at Spartans. Right, Manly able to get the ball away from her, and that's a lovely pass from Carly Johnson. Tegan Biasi likes running at defenders. Now it's Biasi against Nash. Biasi wanted it on her right foot. Then here's Arrowsmith, and it's off the crossbar and away from the goal. Arrowsmith had Anna Norton beaten again. The frame of the goal has come to Spartans' rescue, and it will be a corner kick. She scored with her right foot, and then Daisy Arrowsmith millimeters away from scoring with her left boot. Now she'll take the corner. Cara Stahl is the player being the nuisance in front of the goalkeeper, and it goes onto the roof of the net. Well, I'm in the mood to talk about streams you can watch, obviously, after you finish watching this game and listening to me. There's been a late change to the schedule for the League One Women's Match of the Round. The women's second tier, that is now a 7 p.m. kickoff between St. George FC and SD Raiders. And I believe the professor, Melissa Muscat, will call that from Hammondville Oval. It's a new synthetic in Sydney Southwest. So the time change also a result of having to change venue because this weather that we're having, I think, has rendered Ernie Smith unfit for play today. Only Smith Reserve course, which is a bit unfortunate, but at least Hammondville Oval is available. And then it's a game at an unusual time slot, so Wednesday night, we've got women's football for you on Wednesday night from Petermore Field. Actually, I'll hold that thought because Alyssa Ngsad with the interception and a player free in the middle, it's Janae dos Santos, flags up though. That's why she had so much space. But yes, Wednesday night. It's a catch-up game after game was washed out a few weeks ago, and it's a big one. Sydney Olympic versus RPL Leichhardt, 7:45 p.m. on Wednesday from Petermore Fields. And one of our best commentators, William Constantinidis, will be braving the cold from Belmore to call that one for you. As Spartan shift left to Wilson, now Corona. And Ara Smith, clearly not just a goal scorer, happy to battle for possession. And crossing opportunity. Norton reads it well and gathers the ball. And the combination of Cabezas and Winkler has ended any forward progress from Rakaya Alfarage. There's Winkler again, who hustles it back to the goalkeeper. Drever just opting for, well, might be temporary safety, although that's over Daniele. And then Smith couldn't find a teammate, but it's good tempo to this game. About 20 minutes played here, and if you've just joined us, it's the Queens of the Northern Beaches, Manly United, leading Blacktown Spartans by 1-0. A goal coming about the 12th minute or so from Daisy Arrowsmith. Longer pass, and I think a little look over the shoulder, and Gilbane settles for the throw-in. Gilbane taking over the captain's armband. I think there's an injury to the usual captain, Ruby Jackson, but the silver lining for Manly is Gilbane, like Ruby Jackson, has plenty of experience in this competition, and with the club, those two players have both been at Manly United, if memory serves me correctly, for over a decade. As Karastal switches it left. And then Cabezas finds Biasi. Ngsad giving chase. Biasi shrugs her off. Ngsad hasn't given up, though. Biasi gets to the edge of the box. And it's very clean tackle from Jess Nash. Needed to be inside the area. Johnson. Now Cabezas. Cabezas again. Johnson, who can't hit them from range, and she's tried it. Oh, off the crossbar again. The same crossbar that Daisy Arrowsmith hit. And the second effort, well, I think that's a handball, yeah. Handball by Manly. Another left-footed strike. This time, Carly Johnson. She had Anna Norton beaten, and it was dipping, but not quite dipping enough for it to be a second Manly United goal. Gilbane stretches to head that, but Spartans get to move closer to the penalty area. from memory, I've seen them a couple of times. They don't have any real long throw experts, so I'll have to use short passes to work it into a more dangerous position. As the cross comes in, Drever's up, and a fumble. It's up for grabs. Dos Santos, the shot blocked by Winkler. Cross, and there's a fair bit of wind out there, so cross proving to be awkward for Jody Drever. Spartans try again with Oliva. Takes a hop, and then Cabezas gets that towards halfway. Actually, the whistle, yeah, I think that'll be a handball, not a throw-in. Another set-piece opportunity for Manly coming up, and Alexei Karastal, as is often the case with people who wear the number 10 jersey, is taking over dead ball responsibilities, although there's also a bit of a discussion with Carly Johnson. No, in fact, it'll be a shorter play to Johnson. Tackle there, I think that was Oliva and Daniele as well, trying to keep Johnson from whipping one into the middle. Karastal, it's up. Biasi wants the challenge for it. Got a flick, couldn't direct it goalwards. And then Nash lost a bounce as he was trying to clear, so Manly potentially can keep the pressure on. Biasi looked up. Interplay there, and Manette will shoot. Is that? It took a touch, and actually, well, I think possibly, apologies for that, bit of an optical illusion based on our viewing position. I thought that was the way that ball was dropping, meant it was dropping over Anna Norton and potentially in, but actually well wide. Nothing to really trouble the Spartan shot stopper. The delivery, and possibly the wind playing a part in that one. Although that's a pretty clever flick from Ungsad. Winkler deals with it. Ungsad again, and Cabezas. Oh, it's good shepherding. Ariela Cabezas rocking what I like to call the Viviana Miedema look with the short sleeves and the gloves. It's like me, my hands get cold before my forearms do, so I think that makes total sense what Ariela Cabezas is wearing. Manidi back to the keeper. Now via Norton, the ball goes to Wilson. Look out for Wilson at set pieces. Illawarra Stingrays would know about that after Wilson scored off a corner last weekend, but that's a nice ball from Alfaraja, and the flag is going to stay down this time. Here's Janeo Dos Santos with two defenders rushing back, and Dos Santos puts it over. So I think we have to credit Burton and Cabezas for being quick enough to get back and put the pressure on Dos Santos. Because it looked like she had a clear path to goal, but I think her progress was slowed down just as she wanted to pull the trigger. And the shot goes off target. By the way, while we have I think Lara Hogan has noticed something, possibly maybe a bit of visible blood with Corinne Winkler. So for the time being, Manly down to 10 players while Corinne Winkler needs an unplanned pit stop, I like to call these. Nice 1-2 though from Ariela Cabezas. Manly going to try and attack with this situation anyway. Johnson fighting for possession. The Spartans, I'm going to keep an eye on Corinne Winkler because obviously this is really a test of how well the Manly physio does. Although Corinne Winkler, you got to remember, you got to wait till you're waved back on by the referee. But I'd say well done to the Manly physio, doing his best impersonation of the Red Bull Formula One team. Getting the job done very quickly under pressure. And yes, Corinne Winkler back on the field. Gilbane tackled. I think that's Corona on the far side. Well, you can now hear the rain, so there's a couple of brave souls with umbrellas on the side closest to us in the bleachers, those very wet bleachers by now watching the game. Majority of spectators here at Blacktown Football Park preferring the cover of the building opposite us, which of course has the canteen, most importantly the barbecue, and also the offices for the Blacktown District Soccer Football Association. That rain's getting heavier. Well, once again, thanks to everyone who built this box on the hill of Blacktown Football Park. Now, Crystal Oliva's turn to spend time off the field. And the Caristal saw something different, an opportunity to play it in low. Arrowsmith scoops it over the bar. I wonder what's happened with Crystal Oliva, because I don't remember Lara Hogan telling her she needed to leave the field, so maybe she's noticed something wrong with her kit. A goal-scoring hero from last weekend. So now it's the Spartans' turn for an unscheduled pitch stop. So since they're wearing orange, I suppose they're trying to impersonate the McLaren Formula One team pit crew. Apologies to everyone who doesn't watch Formula One, and therefore sometimes they just don't understand what I'm saying, as Gilbane sends that over the building opposite us. And I think almost might have ended up on the little access road that connects both this venue and Wanderers Football Park, which is next door. Now, Biasi cuts inside and shoots straight down Anna Norton's throat. Interesting battle developing here in the first half, of which we've had more than 30 minutes. Manly like going left to Tegan Biasi when they can, and she's really wants to test Jessica Nash's defensive abilities by running at her whenever possible. Possibly to get another chance right now. Here's Caristal. Intercept. Owen. Kept alive for the Spartans. Janeo dos Santos. And now Wilson. That's too long for any Spartan. By the way, before I forget, the two sets of substitutes. So for the Spartans, the backup keeper is Michaela Kent. The others are Charlotte Owen, Hope Clure, Liana Panay, Indiana dos Santos, and Alyssa McKenzie. While for Manly United, their backup keeper is Christy Cannongieser, and the others Ava Roberts, Hallie Smith, Nicole Stewart, Ellie Kerr, and Ruby Vernon. So a lot of younger players getting a chance to sit on the first grade bench, because of those six I mentioned, Stewart is the only person who wasn't playing in the reserve grade game played before this one. Once again, Winkler and that battle with Alfaraje, which Alfaraje has won. It's the first Spartans corner of this evening. Shout out to Football New South Wales reporter Justin Smith, who is currently doing his duties, and I think he's having to watch a stream filmed last night in foggy conditions. Our thoughts are with you, Justin. As in-swinger from Oliva coming up, and Drever's up, and I think, credit to her, got fingertips on that, so preventing a Spartan's header from going goalwards. Now Johnson, I think, just going for distance. So, though, depending on the bounce, it might work out. Minette's headed, almost like a headed through ball, looking for Arrowsmith. Now she'll put the pressure on Maniti. Now, Minette just wants to get on with it, finding Johnson. But then Johnson is stopped. Here's Minette, and now Johnson. Johnson cross, blocked. Should keep an eye on that Spartans defender because she can fall kind of awkwardly, but she is okay. Worked into the middle, and Johnson will keep going. She shoots, and at the back post, Biasi hit. I think that hit the post, so that the frame of the goal to our left. Oh, and now could be a chance for Minette. Wilson's just finding anywhere to put the ball before Manly score. How can you believe that? Manly United have hit the frame of the goal for the third time in the first half. Honestly, that the goalpost to our left, they've had more hits than Taylor Swift in this first half. Manly United, goal to the good. Could have been 2, 3, or even 4 goals up. And it was a great cross from Carly Johnson, by the way, as Spartans now try to take it the other way. Dos Santos to Ngsard and playing it in front of Alfaraje, but that was pretty straightforward for Drevo. Carroll goes back to Nash. And Nash back to Norton. Now Gobain hooks it over her head, and that, will it stay in for Johnson? Yes, now Johnson walking the tightrope and fouled. Set piece coming up. A couple of Manly players just checking on Carly Johnson. It looks like she was just taking a breather. And actually, well, deciding to leave the field, so another player needs running repairs, so that Manly physio, well, we've already seen how quickly they can work. Fortunately, Carly Johnson won't take part in this set piece, but it's cut back to Gilbane. Now, Karastal. Decent whip on that cross. Can be awkward for goalkeepers when it takes a hop right in front of you, but Norton has caught it cleanly. Cabezas with the header forward. Now Nash finds Carroll. And Nash, well, Alfaraje, you know she's going to chase it, and Cabezas has to scramble. There's a cross. Now, Bozanic. Clearance. Alfaraje will try again. And, well, actually, I did think, although I've closed the window, I'm pretty sure Jodie Drever gave a shout, so Corinne Winkler knew she could jump out of the way of that. Now, Drever, necessary header from a Spartans perspective with Johnson, who is patched up and back on the field. Johnson was running in behind, and Tegan Biasi getting behind Ngsard. Now Minette. Minette shoots from range. Saved by Norton. Burton covering ahead of Janae Dos Santos. Alfaraje will let it run for a throw-in. Carroll waits and finds the ball for Corona. She overlaps. And Arrowsmith plays it up. And then going up also, Jody Drever gets there ahead of Janaea Dos Santos. Okay, now that I'm thinking about the weather as well, I mean, if you're at all involved in community football, and something that Jaden, our camera operator for today, very familiar with, there's been so many washouts this year, so thoughts with all the hard-working volunteers in community football who have had to deal with this situation. Don't think it's quite as wet as it was 2 years ago in the winter season, but certainly a lot of stuff that needs to be dealt with. Cabezas to Arrowsmith. Now Biasi. And Biasi going to the byline and cuts it back. Laid off Arrowsmith. There's just too many defenders in the way. And Cabezas again. And she has won the corner, so that's nice work. Ariel Cabezas, as I see things, playing on the left side of the back three, but getting well forward and helping win this corner kick. Arrowsmith will take it from this side. Corinne Winkler, obvious target. She's very good in the air. So is Emily Manette. We've seen that a few times this season, including against the Spartans, but instead it goes all the way in. And Daisy Arrowsmith has scored direct from a corner to double Manly's advantage with half-time approaching. Oh, that's a sensational goal. And Manly United have stunned the Spartans. It's the first time they've scored multiple goals in the league in 7 weeks. And it's courtesy of Arrowsmith, who's perhaps used her two teammates on the goal line in front of the keeper as a distraction. Got the bend on it that she needed. And it's a Daisy Arrowsmith Olympico. A goal direct from a corner. Manly United looking in a very solid position in the 41st minute. Now Manette winds up. One hop off the synthetic turf. Norton claims. Alfaraja, decent run. Drever's way out of her box. Alfaraja goes around her, but the angle is tight. And then, you know what? That's great work from Jody Drever. Yep, she was beaten to the ball initially, but then she's basically almost become a makeshift defender. And it's good jockeying from the goalkeeper. I think I've never said that before, but good jockeying from Jody Drever. Put the pressure on Alfaraje and has ended up winning the goal kick. Now there's the ball, Janae Dos Santos, and flags up. And Jody Drever had it in her gloves anyway, so more good goalkeeping. flick on from Johnson, and Gilbane not quick enough to keep that in play. Without going into too much detail, I'm just looking at my private messages. Oh, turns out I know a lot of Daisy Arrowsmith fans. I won't name this particular Football New South Wales media person, but I do know someone who has described fans of Daisy Arrowsmith as people of culture, which is what a nice way to phrase it. And here's Arrowsmith sneaking it again. That is a massive handball shout for the visitors. Lara Hogan not interested. To Nash. And broken up, the high press, paying some dividends. Caristal, we know she can score from long range. Most notably on the public holiday Monday earlier this month when Caristal scored from nearly the halfway line against Illawarra Stingrays. That one, not the contact the Manly number 10 was looking for. Good pickup for Manly, Alexia Caristal, after she's finished her A-League women duties with Central Coast Mariners, as Johnson could be in here and runs into Daniele and stays down, but does it break for Biasi? No, it does not. So can you keep an eye on Carly Johnson, but she's getting up slowly, but at least she is getting up. Looking a bit sore, but halftime is nearly upon us, so it's something she can try and walk off and then have it properly checked in the dressing sheds. Arrowsmith. Now Oliva trying to put Manly under pressure, and it's off Drever's knee and then a header. So Jodie Drever, she's jockeyed an attacker, and now she's won a header 35 yards out from her own goal. So Jodie Drever redefining what it means to be a goalkeeper. And, well, be a bit more serious because, I mean, goalkeeper coaches always talk about starting position and the need to be a sweeper keeper these days. And she was in that position in the first place because the starting position was good and she was off a line very quickly to get to that ahead of, I think it was Rukaya Alfaraje. And then there's the whistle for halftime, and it's looking great for Manly United. A Daisy Arrowsmith double means that they take a 2-0 lead into the dressing sheds. Arrowsmith got her first in the 12th minute with a powerful finish that left the Spartans keeper Anna Norton with no chance. And then about 5 minutes left until the break, Arrowsmith scored direct from a corner, her 8th of the season, and it's looking good for the team in blue. This is Eric Subihano on the mic from Blacktown Football Park. We will take a break of about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be back for the second half. Welcome back to the second half of our NPL Women's New South Wales coverage from Rudy Hill. Blacktown Spartans versus Manly United, and the visitors firmly in control, leading by 2-0 as we're about to start the second period. Daisy Arrowsmith scored twice against the Spartans, as she did when these two teams met at Cromer Park in round 5. It's looking great for the team in blue. But of course, with half the game gone, there is still half the game to go, and still plenty of time for the Spartans to get back into this one. Certainly, despite the league position, I believe the Spartans are a team that can't be taken lightly. Just asked Illawarra Stingrays, who fell to defeat here last week. There's the whistle. Away we go for the second half. And Spartans also have on their resume for this year a win away to the two-time defending champions, MacArthur Rams at Linwood Park. Certainly not a lot of visiting teams win there. This one is far from over. Perhaps might do a couple more shout-outs while I also check to see if there's been any halftime subs made. I have noticed by looking at my messages that the woman I believe to be the best women's youth development coach in Australia, Mel Keith, is watching, so thanks for your support, Mel. And Mel Keith, in a time as a futsal coach, has coached so many of Australia's most talented young women footballers, although it's actually a little bit odd. I don't think any of them are on this field, which is not normally the case. Brief check on Isabel Wilson, but she's ready to continue. And, I see, well, the Spartans have made at least one halftime sub. Actually, they might have made two. Coming onto the field. Yeah, it's a double substitution at halftime for the Spartans. So Nacho Alcaraz has maintained his Dos Santos quota out in the field there. Janeo Dos Santos replaced by her younger sister Indiana. And the other Spartans change at right back with Charlotte Owen replacing Jessica Nash. Cabezas for Manly. Oh, this is the stuff of nightmares. If you're a commentator in the technical areas on the far side of the field, Manly have also made a change. I can see that Nicole Stewart is on the field. So Nicole Stewart looks like she's replaced Carly Johnson, and that has required Tom Hopley into a little bit of a reshuffle. So Nicole Stewart is on the left of Manly's 5-player midfield. That means Tegan Biasi has gone up front for Manly alongside Emily Minette. There we go, I got there in the end. Just a reminder of the two sets of players out there. Firstly for the Spartans, the in goal, number 1, Anna Norton. The 4 at the back from left to right, number 26, Diana Corona. Number 5, on the ball now, Isabel Wilson. Number 2, the captain and Philippines international, Chantel Maniti. And number 3 at right back is Charlotte Owen. In central midfield, playing the ball forward now, number 12, Charlotte Carroll, as well as number 8, Helena Daniele. Burton shields that well for Drever. On the left, number 7, Krista Oliva. On the right, number 27, Alyssa Ngsad. Spartans top scorer for this season with 8 goals, Ngsad. And the 2 up front, so furthest forward is number 9, Rukaya Alfaraja, and just behind her, newly introduced at halftime, number 14, Indiana Dos Santos. Good player for the Spartans to bring on if you saw the A-League Women Grand Final. Firstly, if you did, I'm fairly confident that you were less drunk than I was when I watched it. But, of course, you would then remember Indiana Dos Santos' wonderful through ball for Shay Connors to score the winning goal and earn Sydney FC another A-League Women Championship. Header forward from Manette, now Maniti. Oh, no! Mel Keith has coached Chantel Medidi. Oh, yeah, there's one. Yeah, there's always one when I call an NPL women's game. I'm sorry, Mel. Now, that Manly lineup out there, now taking into account the halftime change. So, in goal for them, number 21, Jodie Drever. 3 at the back, number 14, Leah Burton. Number 34, Corinne Winkler. And number 12, Ariella Cabezas. And so 5 in the midfield. On the left, number 5, Nicole Stewart. On the right, the captain, number 2, Phoebe Gilbane. And the 3 in central midfield, number 20, Sian Bozanic. Number 10, Alexia Caristal. And number 16, Daisy Arrowsmith. 2 up front, number 11, Tegan Biasi. And number 9, Emily Minette. Minette with the header. Biasi couldn't reel it in. And helped forward by Owen towards Ngsad. Arrowsmith doesn't just score goals. Defends well, although Lara Hogan didn't particularly like the way she defended there. It is, if you're, oh, Mel Keith telling me she's also coached Jessica Nash. I shouldn't have doubted her. Caristal plays it forward to Minette. Now Gilbane. And the run, trying to break the lines, was Nicole Stewart running all the way in from the left-hand side. So Wilson's under a bit of pressure. Now Biasi with the tight angle. Across the box, and it's going to break for Minette. She shoots and squeezes it in. Emily Minette, that's 11 for the season. And Manly United have started the second half as well as they started the first half. And they swarmed when they saw the opportunity. Biasi with a dangerous ball in that the Spartans couldn't deal with. And the Northern Beaches ace goal poacher is on hand to force the ball home from close range. And go the 2 highest scorers for Manly United this season, Minette and Arrowsmith, doing the damage in the western suburbs. And those 2 have now combined for 19 goals this season. Stewart tries to run it out. Now, Biasi and Minette, nice. Back heel and Biasi, she's quite quick. And yeah, that's actually good defending from Owen. Got the body in the way. Basically, almost forced Biasi to bundle her over and has won the free kick. These messages keep coming. Mel Keith telling me I should have remembered this one, but she also coached Leah Burton at the most recent Futsal Nationals, by the way. Futsal National Champs. What a great event that is. Had fun. I had fun enjoying watching that on the streams. It was in Queensland. It was actually on the Gold Coast from memory in January. And shout out to the Football New South Wales Thunder Open women's team for doing really what is right and just by keeping the national trophy in New South Wales. That's actually a fun one there. Daisy Arrowsmith part of that team as well, as was from memory Grace Arnold, not involved for Manly United today. My favourite part of the Futsal National Champs was when their goalkeeper Sarah Easthope scored. Futsal is that kind of a game, even the goalkeeper can score sometimes. Futsal, we'll have plenty of opportunity to talk about that during the warmer months. As Indiana Dos Santos goes shorter to receive the ball off the throw-in. Carroll, now Corona. Back to Wilson and now Caristal taking over. Manly really, obviously, with their tails up. The scoreboard very much in their favour. As Caristal, though, gives away the free kick. One more thing from Mel Keith. She says she's been teammates with Ariella Cabezas. Now, I haven't seen this firsthand, but from research I've done for prior calls, I do believe Mel Keith, she is now a coach, but was once a very, very good goalkeeper. I went deep into the archives for that one. Forward almost with the shoulder by Carroll. Now, DeSantos. Indiana looking for options. Plays it forward, and Dreva very unbothered. Doesn't even bother to use the gloves, and she will wait until the pressure before picking this up. Minette scooping it up, and Biasi will win the race, but I have to say Nana Norton rushed out, put Biasi off her shot, distracted her, and the shot goes wide. Of course, memory, that sounded like the voice of, it was the voice of Tom Hobley, just, of course, despite the scoreboard situation, still reminding his players to keep the intensity up. Carroll swings it, but Gilbane is onto that one. And Gilbane now challenging for the ball in an advanced central midfield position. Carristal. Stewart starts a run. And Carristal might, thought she would run into trouble, but she's kept it alive. Now Gilbane. I don't often see her in that part of the field. Stewart delivers, and it swings in. Bozanic, though, will keep it alive. Alfaraja back defending. Biasi, good use of the body. Corona is back, and off the corner flag, so that'll stay in. That's another decent cross, and the header. There's Gilbane. Oh, still alive, so the Spartans can't rest easy just yet. And the cross wins the corner. Phoebe Gilbane, of course, she might as well stay forward after that attack. That's a good jump for Gilbane, met the cross, couldn't direct it goalwards, so doesn't add to a tally of 1 goal for the season. That goal she scored in round 6 at Cromer Park against Football New South Wales Institute on Back to Manly Day. Now it's off the fingertips of Norton, and up for grabs here. Played backwards to Stewart. First time, and it will be the Spartans, but immediately under pressure. They'll get the respite with the loose touch. The uncharacteristically loose touch from Daisy Arrowsmith. Of course, I look at my clock, 4:45 p.m. So if you are the multi-screening type, you'll have a bit of choice now on the Football New South Wales YouTube page with NPL women's action. The 4:40 p.m. kickoff was Bulls FC Academy versus Sydney Olympic from Northbridge Oval, or the North Pole, as we might call it from now on. Stewart plays it back to Arrowsmith, returns the favour. Stewart shoots, tipped over. Another corner kick, Manly's 5th of the day. Nicole Stewart, the player who scored Manly's first goal of the NPL women's season, about 30 seconds into round 1 when Manly shocked the defending premiers RPL Leichhardt at Leichhardt Oval. She was not too far away from doubling her tally for the season. Arrowsmith, corner gets away from everyone. Potential Spartans counter. Cabezas is back there, keeping a lid on things. And then Stewart goes back to Drever. There's the header, and Manly might have to be quick here to try and prevent a shot. And still was bouncing in the box, tantalizing before Spartans give away the free kick, but And the referee's whistle has relieved the pressure. Now intercepted by Bozanic, Biasi, and now Manette. Oh, as the room closed just in time between those two defenders. Otherwise, Nicole Stewart would have been away. Of course, Spartans, they'll need to keep the tempo high. Now that they're 3 goals down, they'll need to keep going if there any chance of getting something from this game. Engsad, backwards. Carroll delivers. Off Alfaraje and away. Well, that'll be straightforward for Drevo. Header from Caristal now. Stewart there. I thought she'd run too early, so flags up from Thomas Davis, assistant nearest to us. And by the way, to complete my thought about multitasking, yeah, if you want to, if you've got multiple screens and the multitasking sort, want to watch a couple of games at once, yeah, as I said, Bulls FC Academy versus Sydney Olympic now in progress. Obviously, I prefer that you mute the other stream, not this one. So I like the other commentators, but I would prefer that you listen to me. Gilbane plays it forward. Actually, good tackle from Wilson. Gilbane, very much a wholehearted competitor. Sambo, he keeps it alive. Caristal, it'll take a touch now. Well, Stewart's offside again. So, other games coming up on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. I always have to think. I got into the habit of saying NPL.tv, but that platform does not exist anymore. Rest in peace, NPL.tv. Yes, on the Football New South Wales YouTube page, Bozanic plays it forward, and Biasi will actually put the pressure on, put more than a little bit of pressure on Corona, wins the throw-in. But yeah, the 5 p.m. games, Illawarra Stingrays versus Sydney Uni, the team that broke my heart in the cup by eliminating the Flying Bats. But yes, Illawarra Stingrays versus Sydney Uni is at 5 p.m., as is RPL Leichhardt versus Football New South Wales Institute, University of New South Wales versus Gladwell Ravens and Emerging Jets versus Northern Tigers. Those 4 are the 5 p.m. kickoffs. And then at 5:30 p.m., the match of the round from the Arctic Circle, Northwest Sydney Spirit versus Macarthur Rams. Now, if you're a kind of a longer-term listener of coverage of NPL women's and men's, especially if you've heard a lot of my commentary, you'll know I call Spirit's home ground the Arctic Circle. So, yeah, it was one of those quirks of the fixture list that Macarthur Rams, the women's team, this is their 3rd trip to the Arctic Circle in a week. They played Ravens there 7 days ago, and they also had a Wednesday night 8 p.m. kickoff at the Arctic Circle in the Sapphire Cup. Ravens won by a goal to 0. His Caristal shot is blocked by Maniti. Corner. That put the Ravens into the Sapphire Cup quarterfinals, the quarterfinals of the greatest cup competition in the world. Now, well, and Daisy Arrowsmith scored from the last corner she took from the left side of the field, so let's all watch this very intently. Once again, 2 Manly players right in front of the keeper, Anna Norton. Where is she going to put this? So that's going more towards the edge of the box. Gilbane, and then Bozanic trying to help it forward, but it's Alfaraja going the other way. And Cabezas back into the middle. Manidi couldn't reach it, so Owen has to play it to safety. Back to the goalkeeper. And then Trevor finding Burton, who's got a little bit of space, but not for long. Oliva charging forward to close her down. Karastal dispossessed, but then Bozanic helping out her fellow central midfielder. Could be a bit of room, though, for Oliva. Winkler, good defending. And good first touch from Maniti. Now, out wide, Corona. And Burton won the battle with Alfaraje and Burton. Well, not as much distance as I think she would have wanted. And Carroll from way out, Trevor. Safe hands. Now, well, Norton hasn't gotten to this, but there isn't enough pace on the ball for it to beat the defenders, and there were plenty of orange jerseys in the way. So Stewart using her speed, and of course she's got the fresher legs having come on at half time. Got the jump on the keeper, but it's the defenders to the rescue. Now Crosswell, Norton not tested that time. Into the side netting it goes. Now that whistle, that sounds like the substitution whistle. And it's going to be the Spartans. Now it looks like Helena Daniela, number 8, is the player making way. Indiana Dos Santos has dropped deeper alongside Charlotte Carroll in a kind of more central midfield role. For the hosts, apologies, I'll just need to wait till this play turns around. Let's get it. Looks like number 28, Alyssa McKenzie, who is, I think, I'm looking at this. Looks like McKenzie's, yeah, but on the right, but we'll hold that thought. Here's Angsard. Testing Winkler, and Angsard still going, shoots. And Trevor strong at the near post, and prevents anything happening from the rebound. Now Trevor well under pressure from Alfaraje. Trying a drag back in her own box. Alfaraje gets the toe onto it, but Manly can rest easy. Goal kick. Bozanic. Now Stewart. Stewart again. And Gilbane. Chance to get forward. She loves doing that. But it's marshaled by Corona. Manly applying the high pressure. Karastal. Gilbane sets it up for Biasi. Karastal, but it's Indiana Dos Santos with the foot in the way. Stays in this part of the field with Biasi. A little shimmy. Can't get around Corona. Throw in. Well, it's a cut back. Maniti well positioned. Bozanic, first time, it takes a deflection. Goes wide. Corner kick. gets heavier once more. Gee, this looks like the same people watching it on the uncovered side of Blacktown Football Park are still here. Well done to those people. In swinger, Norton's up, misses it, and it bounces, and then ends up off Manly, over the bar, goal kick. About 20 minutes left in this NPL Women's New South Wales Round 18 fixture between Blacktown Spartans and Manly United. And if you've just joined us, of course, because we're on YouTube, just go back through the stream and catch up on whatever you've missed. But the summary is that Manly United are leading by 3-0. Daisy Arrowsmith opened the scoring in the 11th minute and then scored her second goal and Manly's second goal in the 41st minute with a goal direct from a corner, an Olympico. The third goal came just after half-time, courtesy of Emily Minette. That's how we got to where we are. 3 goals for Manly United. Will it be 3 points? It's not quite assured yet, but they are looking good as the cross comes in from Owen. And then away by Burton. Now, Bozanic. Now, Spartans doing their best to disrupt things. Mackenzie, a new player. Doubled up on by Manly. That's good work. Stewart tracking back to help Cabezas. That's one of the important jobs of the wide players in this 3-5-2 formation, roughly, that Manly are playing. As Gilbane, the other wide player in the 3-5-2, heads away. And yes, it's all good and well bombing forward to support the front two, but you also have to drop back and protect the wide centre backs in the back three. Stewart doing a good job of that, as Gilbane has done for the whole game. Now Caristal, room to run, and there's things getting stretched as Spartans try and chase the game now. So there's that gap in the centre of the park. It's only going to grow, I think, over the remaining 20 minutes. Here's Biasi. Now Gilbane. Gilbane towards Emily Minette, and it's a free header. She'll be disappointed with that. She's already scored this season. There's a big chance to double her tally for today. It's gone wide, and Manly are preparing a substitution. I'm sorry, everyone, my eyes aren't what they used to be. A bit optimistic to expect to see the shirt number. Now, I'm just going to guess that number 33, Ellie Kerr, is about to come on. Let's see how well I memorize things from the reserve grade game. Yeah, so let's see who's the player withdrawn. It's Tegan Biasi. Put in a good shift there. Help the Manly attacks. There we go. Hey, got something right. It is number 33, Ellie Kerr. It's on, and looks like she'll be up front alongside Emily Minette for the remainder of this game. Apologies. You might have noticed I went a bit quiet at times over the last 5 to 10 minutes. Perhaps I should spend less time on my phone, but I did get a message saying I just had to quickly do something for work. This is especially funny if you actually know who I work for, but I won't tell you. Kerr, her first involvement. Caristal trying something a bit different with the back heel. Couldn't find the supporting runner. That was Gilbane, making another energetic run forward. Now back the other way, Winkler. And yes, every central defender loves doing that, shepherding the ball out for a goal kick. I say the majority of these players, as you'd expect from Manly United, from the Northern Beaches. Corinne Winkler, a different took a different path to life at Cromer Park. And Corinne Winkler actually grew up in the United States of America. Played her college soccer at Occidental College, which I believe is in California, which makes sense because Occidental being a fancy way of saying Western, you'd assume it was on the West Coast, not the East Coast. But anyway, I suppose that means in some sense Manly United have their own California girl out there today. And for Corinne Winkler, this is the start of her second spell at the club as Minette chases that, and it should be Anna Norton's. Norton plays it to Wilson. Last year, Corinne Winkler was part of the C4 team that won the All-Age Women Champion of Champions for Football New South Wales. Now back at Manly, and in her first spell at Manly United, I think I remember her mostly for scoring the winner against Sydney Olympic in the 2020 semi-finals, a game in which Olympic were leading 2-0 and Manly United won. Olympic were leading 2-1 late on, and Manly United scored 2 very late goals to win 3-2. As Minette puts the pressure on, and it's a nice turn from Wilson. She'll have to hurry, and keeps it away from Arrowsmith as well. But yeah, Winkler's winner on that 2020 semi, a very sunny afternoon at Peter Moore Field, if I remember correctly. Took Manly United into the grand final, and then Manly United in the 2020 decider ended Sydney University's 32 game win streak. 31 or 32 game undefeated winning streak, with goals from Tara Andrews and Emily Minette in a 2-1 victory at Valentine Sports Park. Now, nice ball to Minette, and Minette might still have a chance. It's still alive in the box. Here's Arrowsmith. First time effort, went for finesse, doesn't beat Norton. Shout out to long-time Football New South Wales reporter and current League One Women's reporter, Justin Davies. He's given me updates from the second tier as we head towards the conclusion of this game. So he's already got a score in League One Women's from not too far away from here. It's a Western Sydney derby at Popondetta Park, and Mount Druitt Town Rangers beating Nepean FC by 9 goals to 0. So it's a fascinating race to see who will win the League One Women's Club Championship and be eligible for promotion. The two most likely contenders, teams based not too far away from here, Mount Druitt Town Rangers and Hills United. That's Cara Stahl. Tries to get involved. Takes a tumble, but she's okay. Of course, with League One Women's, the women's second tier, that match of the round is at 7 p.m. from Hammondville Oval, St. George FC versus SD Raiders, called by the Professor Melissa Muscat. So that rounding off our women's coverage for today. And you'll be able to read Justin Davies, his review of the day's League One women's action. That'll be up, I think, late tonight on the Football New South Wales League socials, as here's Kerr. And then off the ball tumble, goal kick. In fact, going to be some attention required for a Spartans player. And actually, no. So is the physio not needed? We can get on with things once more. And keep the pressing high. They're certainly Manly United not going to park the bus despite having the 3-goal lead. And We're going to see a Spartan substitution. Krista Oliva will not add to a tally of 5 goals for the season. She gets a little bit of an early mark as we're about to head into the final 10 minutes now. Let's see who is onto the field. So that's a 4. So that's number 4, Hope Klur. Looks like she's playing wide on the left, the role Krista Oliva played. Now Minette, a little bit behind Stewart, but doing her best to keep it alive inside the box. Cabezas, touch a bit too heavy, but still up for grabs, and Burton does well with the 50-50. Bozanic gets to it ahead of Alfaraje. Indiana Dos Santos. That's a foul from Caristal. Alfaraje back to goal. Of course, as the light level drops, we'll try my best. Sometimes it is a bit difficult to see things on that side of the field. The camera zooms in, but my eyes don't. A couple of girls early on at Northbridge Oval. Hold that thought as Stewart concedes the throw, but yeah, Sydney Olympic racing into an early 2-goal lead at Northbridge Oval against Bulls FC Academy. And Northern Tigers have already scored at Lake Macquarie Regional Football Facility against Emerging Jets. Gladwell Ravens have already scored at the Village Green against the University of New South Wales. Still 0-0 between Illawarra Stingrays and Sydney University. Also 0-0 between RP Leichhardt and Football New South Wales Institutes. But those 2 games have gotten underway. I'm surprised. I'm actually shocked that 2 of the 5 p.m. kickoffs, sorry, 2 of the 4 5 p.m. kickoffs already have a goal. Now, it's on Minette. And as a sub, it looks like Ruby Vernon has the jacket off. So, Vernon's a forward. She's one of the goal scorers in Manly's Sapphire Cup victory over Blacktown City. I think she's going to get a little bit of a run in first grade. It does remind me about the Sapphire Cup. And yes, it's going to be Vernon. So who's the Manly player that'll make way? Actually, it's Spartans up first, so that's by process of elimination, because it's not the backup keeper, Michaela Kent. That would be Liana Panay, who's on, I think, for Alyssa Ngsard. Just a reminder to keep an eye out on NPL New South Wales socials for the Women's Team of the Week. That should be out tomorrow afternoon or evening. Comprised out of 3-2-1 votes from the Football New South Wales media for all of the women's games played this weekend. It was fascinating to see who does make the Team of the Week. If you've watched this game, you may have a fair idea of at least one player from this game that will be named, but we'll have to wait and see. Now that's that Manly sub. It's actually a Manly double sub, so it looks like Ruby Vernon and Hallie Smith are going to come on, and looks like Emily Minette and Phoebe Gilbane will be the players making way. So Daisy Arrowsmith has gone up front alongside Ellie Kerr for the closing stages. Hallie Smith has taken her place in midfield. And I think Ruby Vernon is going to be on the left wing, left side of that left side of that 5-player, I'm sorry everyone, left side of that 5-player midfield for Manly United. Perhaps Alexia Caristal has gone over to the right. Anyway, here's Vernon. Does get its way to Stewart. Actually, maybe Stewart's gone wide to the right. Now Burton. And Stewart has room and runners. Stewart goes for goal herself. Helped on for Manidi. Gets it to temporary safety. Bozanic from way out. That's not going to dip in time. I'm going to need a second go at describing that latest Manly double sub and the changes made after that. I think I made absolute hash of it the first time around. Let's try again. Okay, so there's Gilbane and Minette off. Vernon and Smith on. Arrowsmith's gone up front, and so Hallie Smith is now in central midfield. And Vernon's gone wide on the left, so now Stewart is wide on the right. Got there in the end. Now looks like Alyssa McKenzie to take this throw in. Now in the 86th minute with Manly United, almost there in terms of ending this losing streak. Now Alfarage, and here's Burton. Got the tackle right, as she had to, inside the box. Corner kick for the Spartans. I think that's Indiana Dos Santos taking this corner. Everyone back for Manly. Keeper stays on the line. Now she's attacking this one. It's good. Clean catch from Jodie Drever. Before I forget, I did mention the Sapphire Cup, so just briefly, the greatest cup competition in the world is up to the quarterfinal stage, and games coming up pretty soon. So I don't think any of these will be streamed, unfortunately, but so you'll just have to watch it the old-fashioned way, with your own eyes at the venue in the cold. But on Wednesday, the 10th of July, 2 of the quarterfinals will take place. Firstly, the last remaining Park football team, or local association Prems team, Coogee United from Eastern Suburbs. They host Northwest Sydney Spirit of NPL, of course. NPL Women's at I believe that'd be the synthetic field at Heffron Park. 7 p.m. kickoff on the 10th, Wednesday the 10th of July. And on the same night at 7:45 p.m. at Lambert Park, home of Sydney's best barista. That's a massive one. RPL Leichhardt versus Sydney Olympic, who will play in a catch-up game in the league on Wednesday. But here's Ruby Vernon. And Vernon tries to ride the challenge. And Lara Hogan is happy to let play run. Besides, no infringements of the laws of the game. But yes, as Alfarage stopped by Burton, Winkler clears. Nice. Anyway, yes, Wednesday, 10th of July, 7:45 p.m. Lambert Park. RPL Leichhardt versus Sydney Olympic in the Sapphire Cup quarterfinals. RPL Leichhardt looking, of course, to defend their title as the inaugural Sapphire Cup winners. Now, Alfarage, again, tracked by Burton. Now, Indiana Dos Santos, who was tracked by Bozanic. Carroll. Burton slams it off Indiana Dos Santos and out for a throw-in. There's the other two Sapphire Cup quarterfinals. So we got a bit of Thursday night football on Thursday, the 11th of July, a 6:45 p.m. kickoff at North Taramar Recreation Area, where everything is cold and wet for some reason, but it's an all-NPL clash, that one. Thursday, 11th of July, Northern Tigers versus Gladesville Ravens, a rematch of a semi-final from last year, the Cup semi-final. And then I've been looking forward to this one because the last remaining League One Women's, the last remaining second-tier team in the Cup, is Hills United, and they host Sydney University from NPL Women's Wednesday, 17th of July, 7:30 p.m. at my favourite venue in world sport, Bella Vista Public School. Because yes, in the Hillshire, there is a synthetic field inside a public school. Not entirely sure how that happened, but good to see anyway, as Owen plays it behind for the corner. 89th minute here. And in fact, that looks like Ava Roberts. It actually has to be Ava Roberts because that's not the backup keeper, Christy Cannon-Gieser. Ava Roberts will get a brief run for a few minutes, replacing Alexia Caristal, looks like. Although the players left. Ava Roberts, yeah, now she's coming on. In-swinger coming up. Again, it might put Norton under pressure, but claims it uncontested. Cabezas, well, that's a tricky, well, could have been a tricky one, but ends up okay, and Dreva goes for distance. Touch off Maniti. Bozanic. By the way, what about the stoppage time? As Vernon wins the throw-in. Just remind me, one of my favorite things was doing some research on Corinne Winkler after I discovered that she played college soccer in the United States. That'll be a Manly free kick. I found a player profile for when she was at Occidental College, and so bit of a Q&A, the usual stuff. Favorite sport, basketball. Makes sense when you're that tall. Favorite athletes, Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, former NBA basketballers. But favorite TV show, Summer High Tie. Remember that show? So perhaps in that sense, Corinne Winkler always destined to end up living in Australia. Clearly fostered a love for Australian culture while a university student in California. As the set piece comes in, and that took a touch and goal kick. Yes. Kerr and beat Norton to the ball. Norton's actually stayed down, so this might add to whatever time added on is supposed to be played. And the Spartans physio is on just to make sure that the Anna Norton is okay. While she's checked on, I might run you through next weekend's action in NPL Women's, just to get a quick plug for the games that are happening next weekend. So Saturday the 6th of July from North Taramara Recreation Area, a 6:30 p.m. kickoff between Northern Tigers and RPL Leichhardt, called by Interlions under 20 superstar Annabelle Banfield. You may have seen her on the NPL New South Wales socials for a men's match of the round yesterday. And then also 6 NPL women's games on Sunday the 7th of July. Firstly at 4:45 p.m. Football New South Wales Institute versus Manly United from Valentine Sports Park. Then 4 games on Sunday the 7th of July at 5 p.m. The match of the round is Sydney Olympic versus Northwest Sydney Spirit from Petermore Field, called by the Serbian Martin Tyler Nikola Pozda. Then at Macedonia Park, Illawarra Stingrays versus the University of New South Wales, called by Wollongong Sax boy Thomas Phillips. And in fact, briefly, Sydney University versus Blacktown Spartans, called by Kate Allman, and MacArthur Rams versus Emerging Jets. Then at 5:10 p.m. on Sunday the 7th of July, Gladwell Ravens versus Bulls FC Academy, called by the Professor Melissa Muscat. It's full time, so unfortunately it appears to be something a bit more serious than we wanted for Anna Norton. But Manly United have defeated Blacktown Spartans by 3-0. Daisy Arrowsmith got them on their way with a fierce strike in the 11th minute, doubled their lead just before halftime with a goal direct from a corner, an Olympico, and then just after halftime, Emily Manette scored to make it 3-0. We hope you stick around on the Football New South Wales YouTube page, because games currently in progress: Bulls FC Academy versus Sydney Olympic, Illawarra Stingrays versus Sydney University, RPL Leichhardt versus Football New South Wales Institute, University of New South Wales versus Gladwell Ravens, Emerging Jets versus Northern Tigers, and there's a kickoff coming up soon, 5:30 p.m. between Northwest Sydney Spirit and MacArthur Rams. But this is Eric Subihano signing off for the Football New South Wales YouTube page on behalf of Football New South Wales and tonight's camera operator, Jaden Smith. We hope you take care, stay warm and dry, have plenty of good vibes, great coffee, sick tattoos, razzlers, and may your people have plenty of successful road trips to come. See you later.